Hi guys, a couple more tips about painting. Again, I apologize, I'm in the shop, so the wind is knocking against the door, so it's noisy in here. As you get your workspace set up, a couple things to just kind of help you keep everything nice and neat. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and just get started opening up all my paint. It may seem counterintuitive to open everything up before you start, but it's actually going to save you a lot of hassle in the long run because these are kind of finicky. So opening them up before you even start is going to help. Once you're actually into it, it'll keep you from having to like go back and get frustrated because your hand is full of paintbrushes and you're spilling stuff and things are wet. So very first step, just to open all of your little paint pots up. Next thing you want to do is make sure that your brushes are ready. And what I mean by brushes are ready is that A, you have them with you, and B, that they're the right sizes and shapes that you want for your design. So I gave you each 3 brushes. They're all pretty small, and there's not a whole lot of variance in size. These are designed to be like very, very fine detail work. So for those of you that are doing any sort of like small scroll work or need small lines, those are going to be your best friends. But what you might need to do is kind of go around your house and see what other brushes you can find. And so like some of these are literally like the cheapies that come in a watercolor set, right? Sometimes they're actual painting brushes that come for painting your house. Sometimes they're just like nonsense brushes that you have laying around. Another really popular style of brush that you probably have out in like your garage or workspace or something are these foam tip brushes. These are really great for fabric paints. You're going to see that they don't really fit into your little pot. So if that's the case, you're probably going to want to transfer this paint into a nice little flat bowl or dish first before you do this. These are great if you need to cover whole surface areas. So if your whole mask is a different color than white, go get you one of these. They're literally like 50 cents at Lowe's. So they're super cheap. Just go get one of these. It'll help you out a whole lot. The other thing I always recommend having nearby whenever you do any sort of paint project is some towels. Paper towels work fine. I use shop rags so that I don't have to be burning through paper. And then the last thing that's also very important is to have some sort of water container. Now I don't want to use a whole lot of water for this project, so I'm just getting like a little paint lid that'll have some water, and that'll be plenty for this project, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get started with my design. I wanna be able to see this pretty readily, so I'm actually just gonna prop this up right, it's out of frame for you guys. Here, I'll tilt the camera down, but it's right near my workspace so that I can see what I'm aiming for, okay? I want to have that handy so that I can check back in with my design as we get going here. Now, when you start painting, it might be the most intuitive thing to start with. Oh, I'm going to do this thing and I've got all this black outline and these black dots. And that's great. Your best bet is a Sharpie. What I'm actually going to do is just take the Sharpie and kind of like very lightly just draw in some polka dots to kind of mimic where I've put my designs. Okay, so I'm really, really lightly filling this in. And I don't want to do too much with this, so I'm just kind of drawing the bare minimum that I can with this. There we go, right? So for me, it's just getting the outline of the nose and the lips. And then probably also the outline of the actual face, because I've chosen to redefine the face outline on my mask. So get this all stippled out like this with your little Sharpie. You can do this with pencil too. You just might kind of need to like press and turn your pencil in to be able to leave a nice visible spot like that. And then you can go back and start filling stuff in. What I recommend is actually to start with your lightest color. So I'm gonna choose just a nice round brush. It's kind of simple. It's like the one that you'd find in just a watercolor kit. I'm just gonna get it a little bit damp. That'll just help our paint blend a little bit better. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with my lime green dots. And so I'm just going right for the green that we have here. And I'm literally just gonna start dotting in my paint. Now, if your design requires you to use something other than dots, if you do lines or big sweeping things, you can do that too. I always recommend once you've got that down to kind of practice with your paintbrush a little bit, see what different designs you can make, how fine can you make your line, can you make your lines kind of like ebb and flow. Get used to your brush before you actually take it and put it on the mask, okay? Once I get all that green in, the next thing I do is move to like my next darkest color, right? And keep going until the black is the very last thing you want to go in. It's going to be so much easier to go over stuff with black than to try to paint over black with a different color, okay? All right, those are my tips for painting. Good luck.